Welcome, everyone. We're so happy that you could be here this beautiful Sunday morning for another class in our ongoing series, Race, Whiteness, and the Church. And today, Foxy Davison is going to facilitate a conversation with several guests who represent two organizations, Progress House Association and the Metro Seattle Sickle Cell Task Force. And we're going to talk about the impact of race on the issues and the communities with which these two organizations engage. But even more broadly, what I'm hoping that you will hear and will take away from this relates to us as a community, what we're learning, where we're growing. And as you all know, at Grace, about a year ago, we began our Serving the City ministry, and you all have been very generous in your support of that endeavor over the past year. And it's a way that we as Grace are learning and growing and more actively learning how to be the hands and feet of Jesus, loving our city and learning about the needs of our city. And what I'm hoping this morning is that some of these organizations that we've been partnering with through Serving the City, that we can hear some storytelling, learn more about these organizations and the communities that they serve, and that would really take it beyond just financially supporting those organizations to really weaving our communities together with these orgs and the communities that they serve, so that we feel a sense of connection, a sense of being with, a sense of embodiedness, and we can learn how to better support these communities, how to listen, and how to volunteer. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Foxy Davison. Thank you, Foxy, for being here this morning and for organizing this conversation and bringing these guests together. And thank you to all of our guests this morning who are here to share with us. Foxy?
All right. Well, good morning, Grace. It's good to see you. Thanks for letting us come on and talk a bit about two organizations that I get the privilege to work with every day. It's good to see you. I want to first, I think all of us at Progress House, we're starting with Progress House today, would first say thank you. Believe it or not, or whether you know it or not, you've already been serving to help Progress House in many ways through the last few years. You have helped by coming up to Progress House and giving food when the cook was out. You have given to, really in COVID, you've helped to give to staff who have had to be out on quarantine and they couldn't afford to be out and lose that many hours of work. So you've helped to pay some of the staff hours. And anytime we have asked, Jason, thank you for just simply being willing to have your arms open to Progress House. So we are very, very grateful. Today, you get to get into our world a bit. I'm super excited because this is just kind of like, you get to know about my family and then you get to know about the work we do and have been doing for a long time. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Progress House, and then I'm going to really give the floor to some of the other guests who are here with you, because you guys already know who I am, and I want to make sure that they get time to chat with you. Progress House began, I'm going to share a couple slides and then we're going to move on, but I have to start with where Progress House started out. So I'm going to share this screen with you. The goal of Progress House is a work release. It started off as a work release, but man, we have grown to be more than that. But the mission is to disrupt the cycle of recidivism and the poverty through individual empowerment and self-sufficiency. And what I really want to start with is this slide here. These are the founders. Two amazing people that I had the privilege to call Papa and Nana, Grandma and Grandpa. These are Barbara and Leo C. Brown. They have both now passed. Our grandfather passed actually in January, and my grandmother passed in 2011. But these two are some amazing people. And I give honor to them anytime I speak about Progress House. And part of that is what you should know. One thing is that my grandfather was a pastor. And my grandmother in our church growing up was the first lady. That's what her title was. And they were amazing in church, but what they also taught us was the power of what the church can do in community. So I grew up always thinking about church and community as one. And my grandparents were really had a passion for community. And I really think they had a passion for people on the margins. They both went into prisons, as even though they were doing a church, they both went into prisons and spoke to the people living there or in those spaces, and really worked hard to just be there with them. That passion for those who were incarcerated evolved into a program. And so I'm going to share a little bit about Progress House and what we currently do. So hold on one second. I forgot what I want to share. All right. So we'll start a little bit with Progress House. Progress House is a nonprofit that services people coming out of prison by providing them with housing and making sure they get jobs. And they normally are with us for a few months before they go back into community on their own or with their families. What I love again about my grandparents is they just loved being in community and serving and not just stuck in the church walls, right? They had passion. And so Progress House now, when it started off, it was one building, and now we are 3 buildings. And if you can see, we have a building in Tacoma that services normally outside of COVID about 90 residents. And then there's one in Seattle, which a lot of you already know about, which is the Ratcliffe House, or HBR, which it can serve up to 47 outside of COVID time. And then we have one in Peninsula, Port Orchard House. I'm going to drop the links for the Progress House so you can learn more about what we do. But right now, that is really, we do a lot with Progress House in doing a work release program. But I want to say there's so much more about my grandparents and what they were able to do. So my grandfather really pushed for Progress House, but I can't help but in this moment also mention my grandmother, Barbara Jean Brown, who her passion was a bit different. I mean, they had the same passions, but her passion really led to starting a camp. This is her at summer camp. We've been doing summer camp for, I don't know, Auntie, how long has summer camp been going?
About the same time as Progress House, since 1975 about.
All right. And so we camp still takes, it used to take, well, until COVID, everything is like until COVID, but took at least 100 kids to a summer camp program, still does to this day. And you stay for 7 days. I grew up going to summer camp, and this is my grandmother in the kitchen at camp. And this to me was her happy place. This is where she loved to be. And again, just serving in community. They love to serve young people. And that grin on her face was always on her face when she was with young people. So we actually ended up having to started a separate nonprofit for Barbara Jean Brown. And we also provide housing. I just want to mention that my grandparents eventually.
Hey, Foxy.
Yes.
We're still on the first slide you were showing. I think you're moving through images that we're not seeing.
Okay. Let me do this. There we go. I'll do this so you can see it. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So this is outside of, I'm just going to mention this just because I have to mention my grandmother. Outside of Progress House, we also do a senior home. And this serves seniors in Tacoma. It's a 23 building apartment complex that services seniors. It is a great time. I always say this is where you could have a real reality show, getting to hang with the seniors every day, which I actually get to hang with right now. But this was in honor of my grandmother, and True Vine is the church that they had in Tacoma. So I'm going to move on to, I just had to mention grandma and the things that she does. We have a housing program that services women and children. We have 2 houses. One is in the CD and one is in Lakewood, where we help to support and offset the rent cost for the women and children. But now we're going to move over to Progress House. And what I would really say, can you see this screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is my grandfather. advocating for Progress House. And I always share the story of my grandfather one time going to camp one year. He was telling me about the origins of Progress House and how he started. And he had this passion. Now, my grandfather at the time was a single parent dad with 6 kids when he was really pushing for Progress House. And at that time, he said that he had this great vision, and he was really inspired by the residents at McNeil. And he had a vision, him and my grandmother had a vision to start Progress House. But when he really gathered around at the city council to talk through starting, they thought it was a great program, but they did not think he should be the executive director. And I asked my papa, why do you think that? And he went on to explain, because he was a Black man, he was single, he was raising kids, he was using state assistance at the time, and they just didn't think that he would be able to run the program. Now, fast forward, obviously, he pushed through, and he has now built a legacy that we all get to be a part of. And so I just want to start with that in honoring our grandparents and what they have done. And now I really want to get you to get experience of what Progress House is about by getting some guests here with you. So today you have Celeste, Yvonne, and then you have my Aunt Cynthia, and my mom is on this call, Angela. Angela is the CEO now of Progress House, and my aunt is the CFO, but she does way more than that. And then we have Yvonne and Celeste, who are part of Progress House in some form or fashion. And what I want to do is let them kind of talk. So we're going to do a little bit of interview style of hearing their story and hearing what Progress House is up to. So I'm going to start with Miss Celeste, which is Miss Celeste. You are the newest person I have met, but I have gotten the privilege to work with Celeste in one of our programs for women empowerment. And Celeste is really going to just tell a little bit of her story and then talk a bit about the women empowerment class. So Celeste, I'm handing it over to you, my love.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Celeste. I'm 51. I have 5 sons and 4 granddaughters. I'm from Louisiana, and I moved up here in Washington State. I got in some trouble, and they gave me 12 years. I was in Purdy for 12 years, and I recently got out like 2018 of December. My friend is Yvonne. She's like a sister to me. She is my sister. That's my family, and she introduced me to Foxy and the mindful meditation class. And my mom used to work for Progress House. So I know a little bit about Progress House. The program that I am with the mindful meditation is very helpful. It helps you talk about your feelings and what you're going through. It's like a sisterhood, and they're really there for you. They help you out when you're going through things. You know, if you can't depend on your family and your family not there for you, it's a sisterhood, and they're there for you. Like Fox is there for me. I'm gonna just brush it up a little bit. I'm going through a lot. I've been going through a lot of stuff. I'm a cement mason. That's my trade. I've been employed with them I've been with them for 3 years. I work for Martison. We're doing the Climate Pledge Arena, but I recently got into a bad car wreck in July, and my hands, it messed up my hands really bad, my nervous system, and I have to have surgery. So I can't do my job like I'm supposed to do it. So I have to get laid off, and so I can do my appointments and go to all my classes and my studies for my hands. So Foxy was there for me. I needed some help because I've been staying into a hotel, because when I got out of prison, my sons brought me a house in Parkland, but I stayed there for 6 months, and I didn't have peace after that because my oldest son was doing too much, and I had to remove myself from that situation. And ever since that, I've been going from place to place to place and staying in a lot of hotels, and it's depleting my savings in my checking account. So Foxy, by me being in mindful meditation class, it really helped me because it allowed me to express the things I was going through with my family and my son and my struggles. And, it's still a struggle right now. But being in that class, it really helped me because they're really there for me. They're really my family, because my own family is not there for me. But they're there for me, so I call them my family. And I'm so grateful for Progress House. I'm grateful for Foxy for being there for me in a time like right now, because she helped me to get a place to introduce me to the church, Grace Church, and I met the deacons on Zoom, and they helped me get this. They paid for me to stay here in this State Bridge until I get on my feet, and I'm so grateful and so thankful, and it's such a blessing to be loved by people that you just met, and that says a lot about. The world is a bad place right now, but it's everybody in the world is not bad. You know, I believe in God. God is my higher power, and I love God so much. And I just got to keep prayed up and just surround myself with positive people. Like the mindful meditation classes is just they awesome. You meet a lot of different women. A lot of different women go through their struggles, and it's just not you. You're not alone, and there's always somebody there to help you. You think nobody's there, but they're listening to you as you're talking. And when Foxy came to me that day, and when she emailed me and told me that, what do you need? Oh man, that just brought me to tears. It just touched my heart like it's touching my heart right now, because I would never think nobody would do stuff like that, because it never been done for me besides my sister Yvonne, that I call my sister. And you know, like I say, my real family not even there for me. And I met some really nice people. I got a lot of nice people in my corner right now, and I love the classes. And like I said, my mom works for Progress House, and I remember Pastor Brown and Miss Barbara coming to the prison and True Vine Church, and it's just amazing, man. It's awesome. It's some nice people, and I will never forget this. I'm very appreciative for everything they do for me. I'm so grateful to God that He brought them in my path to experience the things I'm experiencing. I'm gonna have to experience the hurt and pain that I've been experiencing by myself. I have a group of ladies that I surround myself with in the class that we take every Sunday at 1:00. It's very powerful. Well, you can cry. You don't have to be afraid to hold your emotions, and you could cry and let everything out. And nobody's gonna judge you. Everybody's there for you to lift you up. You know, most people try to belittle you and they'll judge you, but in this class, and the people that I surround myself with now, they don't judge you. They only lift you up and try to help you. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the Grace Church. I'm so grateful for Fox. I'm so grateful for Vaughn. I'm just grateful for the mindful meditation classes. And this is a good program. And I would suggest anybody who's going through stuff to try to get into these classes, because they help you. They helping me, and because not one bad every Sunday, you know, even though sometimes I might not talk when I first started, they just lift me up. And Foxy her and Shell always sending out special little things every Sunday, or even on a Saturday, they'll tell you, do something positive for yourself. Tell yourself positive things, or do something good for yourself, just for you, just for your time, just to make you feel yourself, just to make you feel good. Just do something good for yourself. So I did yesterday with my grandbaby. I have my granddaughter with me, and me and her went and get our feet and nails done, and she got her feet unicorns with the rainbow colors, and it makes me feel good, because you know, as you in life, you know, I always think my son, he just do a lot of stuff that doesn't sit well with me, but you know, I just wash my hands, and I just gave him to God, you know, because I stressed, and I would worry and stress about him so much. But now I can't do that. So I just gave him to God and just keep praying for him. That's all I can do. Because right now it's all about me and about taking care of myself, self-care. And I learned that from Foxy. So the classes is amazing. And Foxy, I just want to tell you, I'm so appreciative to you and to Progress House for letting me be part of y'all class and let me be part of y'all circle. And I'm so grateful. Grateful.
Thanks. Love you. Much respect.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Much respect to you too.
It was so funny because I reached out to Celeste and I say this to you, Grace, it is a joy to have the Serve the City, and even before Serve the City, you guys have been really supporting Progress House. But what is so cool is to be able to have funds that are set aside for need when they come up. Right. And not knowing what that need's going to be, but just knowing that there's lots of need in our community. Right. And so not allocating all the funds that can only go certain spaces, but to just have funds that can be allocated when it's needed. And so Celeste had mentioned something about, you know, not being able to, her housing doesn't really get secure until June. And so I remember, Celeste, when I reached out to you, I said, Celeste, you need, what do you need? And the church, can maybe help. And I remember your question was, well, why are you going to do this for me? And that made me laugh, because I was just like, because we want to support you. But it was just so funny to hear you ask that question, which I actually understand, knowing the
Because
people.
nobody ever asked me that.
Right. And
They always say, they always tell me, oh, you make too much money, but people don't understand, when you go from place to place, that money depletes. Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's why I say I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the deacons, Renee, and I forgot the other lady name. But the two deacons from Grace Church, when we had our Zoom conference, our Zoom meeting, they were so nice, and they was just listening. They say, you tell us what you need, and you just tell us your story. And it's just a blessing.
Yeah.
God is so good. God is so good. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to surround myself by such beautiful, just strong women, and just the love that we give to each other, and we just there for each other. And you don't meet that, that's so rare. It's just rare. I'm just so grateful and so appreciative.
Yeah.
So appreciative.
All right. Well, thanks, Celeste.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to pass this on. Again, I really met Celeste through Yvonne, because Yvonne, I was in Ratcliffe helping with some programming, and I never forget, Miss Yvonne, the way we met, because your blood pressure was high that day. You were sitting in the HBR the lobby, and you and I were just chatting, and we talked for a while. It wasn't your favorite day. I know you weren't feeling well. But since then, Miss Yvonne has come on actually as staff for Progress House, and she'll talk a little bit about that. But that's really how I met Celeste, because I said, hey, Yvonne, we need to start a program, and we need to start one with your crew, whoever your crew is. We need to start with them. Isn't this interesting? You see this? I'm sorry, Drew. Anyway, I don't know how I'm coming back in as Foxy Williams. That's weird, because I'm right here. So I don't know who that is coming in. But anyway, Vaughn, we said, hey, let's start a group, a women's group, a sisterhood. And you tell me who we should have. And Yvonne really told me, these are the women I want to be in our program. And so with our women's empowerment program, it's really spearheaded. Honestly, it started with Yvonne having a passion and wanting to connect with the people in her group. So Yvonne, it has been honestly a privilege to work with you, alongside of you. And so I just want you to share a little bit about your story. Most of you might know that Yvonne was also on our Grace, the Ebenezer podcast long ago, and she shared a lot of her story. So this is my plug. And Sarah, if you want to put that podcast link, if you find it, you can put it down. All right. And you can hear Yvonne's full story. But Yvonne, if you want to share a little bit about who you are, and then talk a little bit about what you now get to do at Progress House.
Okay. Can you guys see me?
We can see you.
Okay, because I can't see you guys. I don't know what, I'm always pushing something. Let me see if I can get back to you guys.
Try swiping to your left.
Is that you, Denise?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Giving tips. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. What was the last question you asked me? Because you was going in and out.
Just talking about, share a little bit of your story and what you now get to do at Progress House.
Okay. After serving 24 years in prison and coming through Ratcliffe was my second time coming through Ratcliffe. When I came through Ratcliffe this last time after doing 24 years in prison, I remember just when I walked through Ratcliffe, I remember from when I used to be there before. And I remember sometime I used to sit out there where the phones were, and there was times I sat there and I just cried because I was so disconnected from this world that I just came out of prison. So I'm back in a familiar place, but I was so disconnected from everybody out there. I was more connected to the people that was in prison than I was here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. And so, like being in Radcliffe, and I'm just like, okay, I've been here before. Let me get through this. I met Miss Fredericks, uh, the boss lady at the work release. I remember she told me, she said, I'm the boss up in here. And I'm like, okay, and I just came through there to do what I had to do. And there was many a times that sometimes I had to get regulated, like in my medication and stuff like that. And so I remember sitting in the lobby, and I remember Foxy always coming through doing a mindfulness class. I'm like, what is that? She's like, you want to go out on the walk and stuff? I'm like, nah. But one day I just sat in the lobby. I used to just love to just sit in the lobby and just look out the windows. And people would go by. It was like my favorite spot to sit out there. And one day Foxy came out there and we had this conversation. And having this conversation with her, I just felt so okay to open up to her and just talk with her about my life, my time in prison, my children, where I'm at today. And she wanted to get me involved in some programs. So when I got out of Radcliffe, I don't even know how me and Foxy end up connecting again. I don't even know. But, I used to ask her, why do you keep coming at me with these programs? Why don't you just like give up on me like so many other people have? And she was just like, I don't know, Yvonne, I just see something in you. And I'm just like, man, I don't understand, but it was like I knew her grandmother when True Line used to come up there. I remember always hugging on Miss Brown. And I just don't understand why Foxy just was so persistent in me getting involved in her program. So finally, we got this one program going as a parenting class. And so she just kind of left it up to the team to put it all together. And I'm just like, look, I don't have no experience in none of this. And, I don't know what to do. And it was just telling my story. I met so many women that was in prison that was coming in the work release that knew me, and just me sharing my story and where I came from. I have 13 siblings. One got murdered down in Vegas. So there was 8 boys and 5 girls minus one brother. I'm the second to the oldest, but the oldest of my mother and my father's 4 children. I have 4 children of my own, 3 girls, 1 boy. My son is locked up, but she'll be out soon. So me coming out of Radcliffe and being involved in this program, through my experience that I have with my children now. I mean, my children are gone and they got kids, but me just reconnecting with the children that I left behind, the wounds that they carry and the scars that they carry from my absence are just so prevalent. So as I go through this class and I'm teaching, I'm also learning and sharing my experience with them. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes like I might have just went through something with my daughter. So if I'm sharing this rejection, you know, whatever the topic or the subject may be, sharing rejection is really real, because, me experiencing rejection even as a child, I always felt like, even though I got this big old family, like I don't know, I always felt alone, and all I had at one time was my children, to love on them and then to leave them to do the type of activities that I was doing that led me to prison for the second time, but this time for a long time. Now I see all the pain that I caused my children by not being there. They didn't have me to call and tell them about, when their puberty started. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or the different things that was going through with their boyfriend. I was absent for all of that. Now trying to get back into their life and experiencing these classes and talking to these women about the struggles that is out here, because they're going to face it. They're going to face obstacles in their life. I have another job where I work as a security guard. Can you believe it? Hear me, an ex-felon, drug addict, person that was involved in murder that took somebody else's life. And now I'm a licensed security guard. I could never imagine my life to be like that, that somebody would accept me and look at me. And if you knew my past, if you knew anything about my past, they wouldn't offer this type of job to me. And then to come into this program and to be able to share with the women that there, I can identify with what they're going through, whether it's recall or lockdown or, sell up and just the different programs. I can identify with all of that. And then being in the mindfulness class, when Foxy had asked me, she said, I want to put a class together. She said, for some reason, she said she was going to pick the people. She was just like, no, it was on her heart to tell Yvonne to pick the people. Automatically, I already knew in my heart who to pick, because to be in this class, I don't want to pick people that's got everything together. I'm broken. I'm being put together day by day from the things and the scars of my past. So therefore, I'm gonna reach out to my friends that I know that are broken and continue, and they have a past, and to see the struggles they went through. Like Celeste, I met Celeste in prison, but from the day that I met Celeste, I've loved Celeste. I've always told Celeste, never question my friendship with you. I love you and I'm gonna be here for you. And it's not always with words with Celeste. You know what I'm saying? I see myself.
Uh-oh, can you hear her? Did we lose you?
Yeah, I can't hear.
Okay, Yvonne, just mute and unmute yourself. Here, I'm gonna mute you and then unmute yourself and see if that gives you back your sound.
Can you hear me?
Yep, yes, we
Okay.
can.
And that's why I won't give up on Celeste, because I see the hurt in Celeste. I see the rejection in Celeste, you know what I'm saying? And pulling Celeste into the program for the mindfulness, like it's something that I know that she needed. You know what I'm saying? She may not have felt like she needed it, but I knew that she needed it. She has so much to offer and so much to receive from the program. So I'm not going to let Celeste go. That's my little sister. We get on each other's nerves, but anything that I'm in that's going to help her grow, I'm going to pull her in. And then Jaquise, and then my sister Dre. We was all in prison together. You know, me, Celeste, and Dre was like the three amigos, from us working in the visiting room, doing floors or whatever. You know, the mindfulness class is a class that help you really identify with who you are, you know, and to be honest and be raw and get to see yourself for who you are, but in the midst of it, still love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I am, my nickname is Ladybug. So when we in this class, you know, Yvonne always had to tell Ladybug how much she loves her. Ladybug is this little girl that hurts so much. You know what I'm saying? And I just want Ladybug and Yvonne to heal together. So Yvonne took Ladybug out to get her feet and stuff done. You know, one day I went by myself. Or did I go with you, Celeste? Or you met me? No, I went by myself. But and then the other week, Ladybug and Shorty and Nate, we all went out and got our feet done. Then we went to go eat. That was last week. Then we went to go eat. And we met this guy. We didn't even know him. We met this guy. He started talking to us, telling us all his problems about him and his girlfriend. And that night we just had, it's such a beautiful thing to, like, all my old friends that I left out here, they're left out here. I met some new people in prison that we share a common thing. And you just never know who you're going to meet and who's going to be in your life, who you can help. You know, this program from the Progress House, from me working with the parenting class to the mindfulness class, I think it's such a beautiful thing. I met Foxy for a reason and for a purpose. I never thought that today, my life, I've been gone now. I've been out of prison on the 18th of this month. It'll be 3 years that I've been out. And I never could imagine my life being the way that it is, you know, from being a security guard and up to this parenting class. It's like, I don't even know what God's going to do in the future, but I do know that he's helping me heal. through these different programs. I thank God for meeting Foxy and be able to share the ones that I love with Foxy. Um, I got to, I think I got to talk with you guys last time, the church last time, me and Omari. But I just, where I'm at today, I just never thought, I definitely never thought that coming through the work release, I'd be coming back to the work release, reaching out to the girls that are there. And then, even some of them connecting them with some of the girls that we've been in prison with, like my sister, Andrea Alzheimer's an ambassador for youth working with a community passageway. So like she works for youth and they end up getting in trouble. She goes to court on their she goes to court on their behalf to help them kids out. And just, man, we have a story, and I'm just thankful for the programs that I'm involved in now, and that especially through the sisterhood too, also can reach back and grab some of my friends and say, look, we already have a sisterhood. Let's just share this with somebody else. You know what I mean? And with Foxy and Shayla and them guys, it's just awesome. And I'm really grateful for the class, and I'm really grateful for you, Foxy, for just not giving up on me. I never understood why. I don't know, and it just made me cry just to think.
Uh-oh. It happened again. You got to mute and unmute. Yvonne, just want to say so much respect for you. And part of the reason why I think for Progress House, we knew we needed to make sure we were connected to someone like you. As I remember you in Progress House and HBR actually talking to staff about how to treat folks. You remember, you were leading even there. And the truth of the matter is I have not been to prison. And so how can I speak to that story, right? But to see how you have lived life and how you have a passion for people, it seems to me that God has your path, and I'm just a part of it. It's so weird because I did not expect so much Foxy love today, but I'll take it in. I'm trying to learn how to take in love and not try to deflect it. So thank you. What a joy to work with both of you, and who knows where we go next in the programs that we're doing. I want to move quickly to the two women above me who are my superstars, honestly, above my grandparents. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I want to speak to let my Aunt Cynthia, as well as my mom, if she chooses to. She doesn't always like talking, but she likes to listen in. So if you choose to, Mom, you can share. But Auntie Cindy is here, my aunt. I know you heard a lot, so I would love to hear what you're thinking, but also just to talk to us about Progress House. And again, this class is about race and how race has played a role. I think it'd be great to speak to that if you would like, but I just want to give you the floor, Auntie, and go for it however you choose.
Okay, well, first, Big Sis, did you want to say anything first? Okay, so I'll go ahead. So first of all, Grace, thank you. You all have just been such a blessing to Progress House and all of our endeavors. I mean, you embody. My dad, in one of his articles he wrote when he started Progress House, that he saw no difference between the church and the community, and serving the community. They were one. And so all of the things that he picked up and endeavored to do had the church tied with the community at the basis. And you all exemplify that, from, not just the giving, but also, when we were able to have visitors or come and help, you guys helped us with remodeling bathrooms, between Grace and Faith. I mean, just, you guys have been such a blessing and a true embodiment of what it is to be a part of the community by giving to others, and not just coming into a church and sitting and giving tithes, but actually making sure that that your investment embodies what Jesus asked us to do, and that is to love and take care of each other. So thank you for that. Of all of my family, my sister, my mom, my dad, I'm the newest member to Progress House. I've only been actually working here for 3 years. Well, 4 years now. I came at a pivotal time in our company when we needed help to expand and support. And my sister being, my hero, and then also my dad, it was different for me to come into this type of program, because although I'd grown up around it, I hadn't really worked for Progress House, and I didn't know what that all meant. But what I do know is, people make an impact on you. And when people make an impact on you, you can make an impact on others. And I believe that we have a ministry of giving in our family. Our parents, I don't know who it was that had it before them, but obviously our parents had that. They talk about generational curses and also generational blessings. This is a generational blessing, I believe, that's on our family. And our parents did everything that they could to carry that out. And my sister adapted that also. It's very strong on her. Now you can see it's very much on my niece, Foxy. So I'm just jumping in as a little part of that to do what I can. But when I got there to Progress House and started to understand the need, it was interesting because my sister, she's the visionary, because she's been with Progress House for over 30 something years, serving under my dad and my mom. Foxy, as you know, is the heart. She's the person that brings the passion to Progress House and helps us to stay committed to the community. And I call myself the brain, in that I help with the finances and try to make sure that it all works out. So the three of us together have been doing that. You've heard a lot from others as far as, what Progress House does, so I won't go over that. I will just say this, since in the last 4 years, Progress House has expanded not only to the 3 locations, but we've taken on other missions, because we're a company that, just can't pass up a need when we see it. So we've been able to open a clubhouse, which helps people that suffer from mental illness, whether that has been people that are coming through the prisons or just in any scenario where you've suffered some challenges with mental health. Now we serve that community. We have a clubhouse that's been open for 2 years. Well, we just reopened the last year. We have about 15 members now, and we're steadily growing. Hopefully that will be renewed. That is a program under Progress House, similar to the ones that you're hearing about, but that is a international program that we've started. We've also been able to expand to help more women and children through Barbara Jean Brown Foundation. Started in honor of our mom, which is kind of a sister company now to Progress House, that enables us to focus our efforts on women that have been incarcerated, suffer from poverty or discrimination. And we're starting to get that program up and running. So again, we've trying to meet the needs. We have the seniors, and then we also have the children with camp. So we're doing a lot, but to whom much is given, much is required. So we see it as a responsibility of ours to help wherever we can. And again, we appreciate the partnerships that we've had in the community that allow us this. I don't want to miss the conversation of race and how that has impacted our business, our company. Just to give you kind of a, shake up from the conversation we've been having, to talk a little bit about that. Me coming from an IT background and company, I graduated from Spelman, all Black women's school. And then I went right into working in IT. And in that field, I didn't experience a lot of, per se, racism that I was aware of, because a lot of our business was outsourced or overseas. We had a lot of different nationalities, and it wasn't as prevalent. But when I came to Progress House 4 years ago, I was hit with it in my face a lot differently than I had experienced before. And right off, the first thing was, in our contract negotiations, I realized that a lot of white companies that hadn't been around for as long as we had, didn't have the track record we had were getting more money than we were getting. And the only reason we found this out is by accident. They accidentally sent a publication that told how much they were getting versus what we were getting. And it was devastating. When we got to Progress House, my dad was funding a lot of the programs himself. It had gotten to the point where my dad's mentality was he was older. He wasn't gonna just keep fighting. He kind of just accepted what he had and did the best he could with what he had. A lot of people in business in the Black community that are servants, true servants, they do that. They just accept what they get and they make the most of it. And that's where he was. Every month he loaned the company $20,000, and hopefully by the next month they loaned it back, only for him to loan it again. And this was a cycle. And he told me when I took over, because I had money, I'd been working in IT for a while, and he told me, do not, follow in my footsteps. You can't fund the company. The company has to take care of itself. And I told him I couldn't afford to do what he was doing. And but I had learned some about business, but again, I didn't know how the contracts worked and all of that. So when we found out that we were making significantly less, we fought to find out why was that? What was the difference? Why were they getting more? What did we need to do? And what was this difference in pay? And we had to fight. We had to fight for equality in our contract. So we formed a union with the other contractors and tried to get knowledge. And it was a challenge. That has been one challenge. The other one I would say where race has definitely come into play is just with running business. One thing I realized as being a Black business owner in Washington State is that the people that I see doing business are not doing business. They're doing what I would call hustling. The reason I say that is because they make enough money to maybe provide for themselves and their family, but they don't make enough money to pay their taxes. They're not familiar with saving up for retirement. If they're making a lot of money, they don't know how to grow their business so that it becomes something that can live on and make money for years and years to come. So one of the things I've been doing with Progress House is researching, but lack of knowledge or access to knowledge is hurting us. Not per se Progress House, but I'm just talking about Black businesses in general. That is one area that I see that other successful businesses, they have access to knowledge. They know how to invest money in places that keep the business going. And they know how to plan for taxes. For example, when I first got to Progress House, I spent a good month or two just going over the budget over and over again. Where could I save? Where can I save? How do I budget? Because I had to budget for 3 years of pay increases and all of the stuff that we didn't know. And I didn't have anyone that I could ask. We didn't have mentors in place that could tell you how to do it. And it really was God, my sister's experience, and my dad's experience that taught us how to create a budget that has sustained us and allowed us, because we don't get raises, the DOC every year, allowed us to really plan out. So I would say, again, just to recap, the two areas where I've seen race come into play with our companies is lack of information of how to be a profitable business. What does that look like? How do you do that? And a lot of that stuff you don't always learn except through mentorship. So I think being able to have mentors that are in the business, and Grace has definitely helped us with that. We've been able to reach out to some lawyers and ask questions, but just knowing, having access to information, and then also being equivalent for the job that we do. I mean, and this is not an untold story. It's just the same story again, with how maybe one person will make a certain amount of money and another group won't. And it's, women, men, it's the same kind of thing, but we experience that too when it comes to contracts. But I think now we've been able to fight for ourselves and just get better at that. So I want to leave time for questions. So Foxy, is that kind of what you wanted me to cover?
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So those are, I would say, are some of the two challenges that we've had that I really think can help It's the difference between giving someone fish and teaching someone to fish. And the knowledge, you don't know what you don't know. And that is one thing. If you've had a bunch of successful business people around you, you know how to do business. Fortunately, we had some models that helped us. But I don't know. And I see other businesses struggling with that, Foxy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I know you thought, and Drew, I told you this, I said, well, I don't know if we're going to get to the task force today. And the task force folks, Layla and Denise, knew that. So just know that we're going to get to them again at some point. But there's so much said, and we really thank you first for sitting to listen, to get lost a bit into Progress House and our experience. Now we want to open up to questions that you might have. And every question is a safe one. So you can ask any question you would like to any of the folks that you've heard stories from. And Drew, if you want to ask any questions, you're more than welcome to do that too. Any questions?
Could I just ask Cynthia a quick clarifying? I was curious. You mentioned the contracts, kind of inequitable contracts. Were those contracts like for employment or for like business to business contracts or city contracts?
Yeah, they were actually from the Department of Corrections, has 12 work release programs that they partner with. So of those 12, maybe they have 4 different business partners, and we're one of those business partners. And what had happened is, since our father had traditionally, what they explained to us when we went and approached them is, our dad never really asked for the money. The other companies did. They knew to ask, they knew to fight. My dad's personality was one of just take what we get and make it work. And so we had to come and change that, because we said, if we're providing excellence, and I created us a scorecard. And I said, look at what we've been doing and how successful we have been over all of the years and how successful we remain. We're one of your best partners. Why are we receiving your worst pay? That's not equitable. That's not right. But a lot of people don't know to go have that fight. But I learned that in my corporate experience. If you don't ask, you don't get. And awesome. Sometimes you got to ask with the passion and the knowledge. And that's what we did.
That's fantastic. Way to go. I'm inspired.
Thank you.
Any other thought? You can also do thoughts if you have something that's coming up for you that as you listen, love to hear your thoughts.
I'm grateful for those who've shared their stories, Celeste and Yvonne especially. They're just really inspiring and encouraging to me, and that's been a gift. Just to see like redemptive work in action and your vulnerability with that, that's a big gift. So thank you for sharing. I've been blessed by your stories.
Thanks, Tess. I don't believe in holding people long. So if you got something, you better go for it. All right. Drew, I don't know how we normally close. So if you have some thoughts, and do we close at 10? Is that when you guys get off?
Yeah, 10 is the stopping point. I'll ask a question real quick if no one else is going to jump in, which is specifically for us at Grace Seattle, are there things with the work of Progress House, issues and concerns that you're facing right now that we can be in prayer about? And are there other ways that we can hear from you that we can help support and volunteer with your organization?
Yeah, well, I will mention right now with COVID, there are a couple of times, and there's a time right now where the facility has to go in quarantine. So please be praying for residents and staff, DOC staff and contract staff, because that puts a lot of stress on the entire organization. Auntie, I'm going to pass it back to you to give any other thoughts.
Yes, definitely that. And as you all have, like I talked about, access to knowledge, maybe, I don't know if Grace has a business development center, I would love to partner with you all if you do to get that information into our community, because it's never enough information out there. I think I have a lot that I can share now, and but I don't know what I don't know. So I think if that's something you have, that would be great. And then as far as volunteering, in Progress House, because of the COVID and the restrictions in our facilities, it's a little difficult to volunteer there right now. But we do need to get started back with our Bible classes. We do need to start back with some of the, AA and some of the other programming Foxy can tell you about that she had helped us set up. And maybe we need to figure out non-in-person ways of doing that through Zoom and other channels. Because as you can see, it's one of the things that we've always tried to provide is additional services, because I'm sure Yvonne will tell you she got a lot of help at HBR and there were a lot of services, but they don't stop when they leave. So we're trying to see if we can get an alumni program started where they can continue with services beyond their time at Progress House. But also they just need more assistance than what DOC and can give. So having these other programs help, and volunteering for some of those, as Foxy can let you know. And then, as I said, we have the clubhouse, and that is a huge volunteer opportunity. As we get past COVID, we'll open the door to even more programs where you can physically come and get involved. I know for me, a lot of what I do when I like to volunteer is I like to see the reactions. I like to be there, not just give, financially, but I actually like to be there. And the programs that Foxy is putting together, and also the clubhouse, are key ways to physically give your time and not just your money.
Yeah. But I do want to say too that your money, honestly, what Grace has been able to do financially is also huge. And so just know that for those who can't give, who can't be there, financially giving is one of the ways that we've been able to do, for example, the mindfulness programs and all the different programs that we have. And so there's this balance. And what I have loved about Grace is being able to have somewhere to go within the church and say, hey, we need this. And it's like, boom, let's make this happen if it works. It may not always work, but it will work. We have other things that we're thinking about in regards to programming as we move forward. But I also think, I know we don't have a business development center, but there are many people in Grace who have done business and has done it well, or there's other components that would be so helpful to be surrounded by with expertise, whether that's law or there's so many other ways. And so if there are people that in Grace that you think, ooh, you know what, we've watched them do business and they might have some wisdom to offer, I also think just sending them our way would be really helpful. Yeah. I want to just say real quick, Denise and Layla, can you guys say hi at least?
Hi, everyone. My name is Layla Endafon, and I am the communications intern at the Metropolitan Sickle Cell Task Force.
And Denise is on there, and she was on there before. Denise also was on Ebenezer for the podcast. And then Sarah, maybe you want to plug Denise's story in there too. I knew this was going to happen, Drew. I told you this. We can't get to the task force today, but I don't want to miss what an incredible story that is. I get to work with these amazing folks every day. Layla and I are working more and more together around sickle cell and health inequities, which is a huge conversation I knew we weren't going to really be able to do that one justice if we tried to start it 10 minutes before we closed. So we'll have to do that one at another time, but I want to acknowledge that they are here, and there's a conversation there too, but we'll have it at another time.
Well, many, many thanks to you, Foxy, and also to Cynthia and Angela and Yvonne and Celeste and Denise and Layla. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. Thank you for your generosity with your time and your stories and your expertise. And I feel like we have learned a lot from you, and we have such respect for you all. So many thanks. We will meet again 2 weeks from now on the 25th. I'm not exactly sure yet, still tying down the topic, but it may be that we talk about the sickle cell task force at that point. But you'll hear by email about what the plan is. Thank you all, and have a lovely Sunday.